Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Previews. I realize that we're not doing this one the way we've done the others. No, I am not in the theater. I am in my house. But the biggest reason is because, well, kind of two reasons. One, this is a podcast. And two, I can't be where everyone is at this current time because they're in different locations. But we are coming to you again to do previews. So I'm going to have everyone in, let's see, I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with Clint, and I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves. I want you to tell everyone where you are and what you do in this particular project. But Clint, I would like for you to introduce the project to us.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Clint Vesta. I live in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am the writer and voice director for the Malone Family and the Enchanted Forest. And what that is a 7-episode podcast series. It's been produced through Christian O'Neill and the Cary Playwrights Forum. And earlier this year, while theaters were still very much shut down, a large group of actors got together and we rehearsed and recorded a 7-episode podcast series about a family living in Salem, Massachusetts around the turn of the year 1700, who wind up in an enchanted forest for most of the series and then have to return to Salem at the end. It's a fantasy comedy action, just no foul language, nothing dirty or anything like that, just fun. And it's one of those things, if you're kind of tired of the pandemic and could use a little enchanted forest, then that's the idea.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna go to Sariana, you next. Just tell your name and what you are doing with this particular production.
Sure. I'm Sariana Gray, and I live in Chapel Hill, and I play Tethra, the Queen of the Fomorians in the Malone Family in the Enchanted Forest.
Okay, thank you. Chauncey, you next.
Hi, I'm Chauncey Miller. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. The role I was Paul Malone, the father of the Malone brood who gets trapped in the enchanted forest.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Chris.
Yes, sir. My name is Christian O'Neill. I live in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm the producer, sound designer, and editor for the show. So I've spliced everyone's voices together to make them sound like they're in the same room.
I'm glad that you went last, and yet you actually led me to my first question. As a sound designer myself, I keep saying seen. I've seen and heard the podcast. Love it, by the way, you guys. It was great. I'm just going to say this. From now on, when something in my life is not going right, I'm just going to call out number 21. Okay, just go there. I'm calling out number 21, and that's that. Christian, wonderful sounds. How difficult was this putting everybody and the sounds together to give us a visual when there really isn't a visual?
Sure. So it's a mix of different things. So you kind of have to do some strategery to get it the way that you want. So what we did first was we did Zoom because this was in the middle of early 2021. We did a Zoom rehearsal so that Clint could tell everyone, this is generally the direction I'm wanting to go for this scene, for this episode. Everyone goes off into their separately, and then they record on their cell phones or their microphones. They record their lines by themselves in a room, whether it be in a closet or just in a bedroom somewhere where there's not a whole lot of reverb. They send those files to Clint and I do the quality side of things, where I say there's a little too much reverb. They need to redo this, or they're clipping really bad and I can't fix it. Whereas Clint does, okay, I like take 2. Don't use this take. I didn't get quite the take I want. You have to go and redo it. So there's some back and forth. And then what I do is I do just a voice track. So I put everyone's voices together, very rough draft, but I try to get the timing just right. Comedic timing to set the tone of the scene, try to get as close to what Clint's, we keep referring to vision and sight, but vision for this, based on rehearsals and based on my one-on-one conversations with them. And if he likes the voice track, then I find the sound effects to complement the tempo that we're adding to the scene, because I find that you can find sound effects. It's better to find sound effects that can complement what's going on rather than finding sound effects and then trying to get the voice acting to match. So we did the voice track first, and then we added the sound effects on top of that. Some of the sound effects I found online, and then other sound effects I had to make myself using household objects, some of them being right up here. And then some of them I just had to make my own sound effects, using vocally anything I can do.
Yes, I saw speaking of that right quick, I saw what I thought was a cat had a person's name. Was that an actual person, or did y'all name the cat a person?
No, that cat is my wife. Yes, Lady Macbeth, who's the family cat, is played by Ronda Lemon. So she's doing those vocalizations. And mainly because Clint was looking for, since the cat is a part of family and as a part of the show, he wanted some personality from it that you can't get from a stock cat sound effect. And by stock cat sound effects, there's only like 5. It's kind of like when you hear a baby cry in a commercial, it's the same baby cry. But you can get a lot of diversity if you have somebody just doing the vocalizations. And then I have to sift through all those to say, like, does this sound sadder than this take? And does this sound better in this take?
Okay. All right.
Can I jump in on that one?
Yes.
Thanks. So I just got to tell this quick story about how Rhonda was cast as Lady Macbeth. I did not know it was Christian's wife. So I'm listening to the different auditions for Lady Macbeth, because we did put out a casting call, which included the cat. And I have 2 cats. And I said, you know what? Some of them sound good. I think this one sounds really good. Let me ask the cats what they think. So I played them for my cats. And when I played Rhonda's audition tape for my cats, they were sleeping on the bed and they just perked up. And they looked around the room. So I said, if they're convinced, I am.
So the cats were the casting directors for Lady Macbeth.
100% true story. Yes.
I like that. That is amazing. That is amazing. Chauncey, sir, let me ask you, how was it not having people around you as you're reading your parts and trying to be into character and not getting that reaction from a person?
I think it was it was good and bad. I mean, coming from theater and being on film and television, you're used to having someone respond to you. Sariana can speak to this. Kind of the pinch and ouch is not there anymore. So, but in voice acting, it's funny because now I've been taking voice acting lessons since we've done this, and the difficult part was kind of manufacturing these emotions spot on in the moment. But then you had the help of Clint would give notes, just like they mentioned earlier, like take 2 or whatever. And so he would come back and, send you an email saying he wants more of this. So we had help in that regard. I've learned recently that a lot of times when they do this, well, not so much anymore. This is the kind of how they do both voiceover acting now. Everyone is kind of by themselves. Gone are the days where everyone sits in a room and you watch, everyone lays it down all together. So in that respect, I kind of liked it because it prepares you for any voiceover work we may do going forward. But I kind of just sat in my closet with a blanket over me with my clothes surrounding me, and I was kind of like, all right, well, let's just give it a go. And so a lot of times I would send 2 takes, most times 2 takes of a line.
Okay.
Juan, I wanted to say something about Chauncey. I'm
Yes.
surprised to learn that you're just starting taking voice acting, because what you achieve in the Malone family is something that people go to seminars and pay money for, and it's called the conversational read. It's very, very challenging to do as a voice actor, just across the boards. I don't know why. We all tend to just put on a persona of some sort when we do voice acting.
Oh, thank
And
you very much.
you are just masterful at that in this, I think. I was struck by that from the very beginning. What don't you think, Clint? Just
Absolutely, yeah. It's
he's so real, and just the regular, single dad or widowed dad. Yeah, it's remarkable.
yeah.
Sariana, is it Sariana or Sariana?
Sariana.
Thank you. Okay, don't want to get nobody's name wrong. Believe it or not, people still to this day get Juan wrong. I don't know how, but they're gonna leave that alone. Sariana, do you, speaking of what you were just saying to Chauncey, do you prefer to do voice acting, or do you prefer a live audience when you are doing theater?
I prefer live audience. I prefer stage always. I segued into voice work about 10 years ago after doing radio, and it was, it opened another door for me, another venue to perform. But there's nothing like Chauncey said, being with other actors and interacting on a stage in front of a live audience. That's just like the pinnacle, I think, for actors, for me anyway.
Okay.
Because you really have to, you're always performing. You have to really have a great imagination to work alone, I think, and to, go moment to moment when you're by yourself in a closet or wherever.
Right.
It's fun though.
Do you plan to get back to, and when I say plan to, I mean, what has this pandemic done? Yeah, this pandemic, what has it done to you, and what do you think it's going to do in the future? Say if we get out of it, if we got out of it by December 31st, what do you see going forward for you in theater now that you've learned, what we're doing now, Zoom theater and voiceover theater? What direction do you want to go?
Well, Zoom was a whole new experience for me, performing on Zoom. And I used to say to people, it's not theater. I mean, it's not stage, it's not film. It's a whole thing in and of itself. And I was very happy to have it because it was really all we had. And it fulfilled, I think it helped me get through what was a very long, and we all have personal things we're dealing with. And to have that escape during COVID was phenomenal. So I probably will keep doing it if there are opportunities, but definitely will pursue TV and film and stage again also.
Okay, and the same thing for you, Chauncey, because I saw you perk up when I asked that. What is your take on this new medium that we have, and where do you see yourself going once we can be free to roam again without masks on our face?
Well, I mean, I plan to go back to the stage. Zoom theater was great. Kind of like Sariana said, that when it first started, a lot of people were like, what is this? But then we had nothing else. I was part of a couple of productions where we did that. I wrote and directed, and I also performed in a couple. But I think in some ways it'll stick around for like play readings, where people, things like that with the Greensboro Playwrights Forum or the Durham Playwrights Forum. I think in some respects it'll remain that way. But I think that people's desire for, live interaction and connection, you just can't compare to that. God willing, the pandemic will be over soon, for real this time, where, it's kind of start and stop, the mask are on, the mask are off. But it's definitely been a blessing. The biggest thing is, the benefit though, is that I wouldn't have been able to perform with Sariana or Clinton or Christian. I performed with a guy that was in Chicago and a woman that was in Baltimore, I believe, Philadelphia, in that area. that is the blessing. You get to connect with them, and now, you know,
And it's so great that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's always remarkable to me that theater people just find a way to do it no matter what. You know, it's like you said, what is this? And we have to do this alone, and we have to go buy a ring light, and you know, it was all this technical challenge, and yet, you know, when you love it, you do it. You do whatever you can to perform, and you know, I think maybe Zoom performing will stay around in some respect.
And some people, some theater companies started writing plays specifically for Zoom.
Mhm.
You know. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Kind of on those same lines. A lot of theaters now are starting to add streaming to their production. They're getting along with getting their regular rights, they're getting rights to stream. Tell me your thought on that.
I think it's great because if you have a local production that now either has been just kind of almost forced to do it because of the pandemic, you take the NC 10 by 10 over the summer, for example, that happened here out of Odyssey Stage in the Carborough Arts Center, that you know, there's still audience members. They wanted to be sensitive towards the audience members that were not sure if they wanted to be in the theater live in person. Now, a lot of people do want to go and do that, and they prefer that, but they offered a streaming option, which, you know, as a playwright, I had a piece in that, and the contract included that. So I had to sign and agree to that. But it's fantastic because, I mean, let's say you're one of the actors and you've got friends in California. You know, it's not, oh, you're in some show. It's, oh, I can check that out. And you can go live, you can stream. It's great. Now, you're still going to see a stream of a live show, assuming that's, you know, what we're referring to. But that's, I think, great for the audience. I think it's great for the production company. And it was great. Actually, 2021 for me as a playwright was the best year I've had. I had a piece that was performed in Ottawa via Zoom, and in Atlanta, and
Wow.
you know, a few around, a few around the country. Well, you know, it kind of stemmed back from the Zoom medium. Sometimes you can do a play on Zoom, and a lot of people can put together, say, like a Shakespeare reading, a great reading of a Shakespeare play. You can kind of put that together in a short period of time, and the actors can be off book. They don't have to memorize lines. But some of the plays they were asking for over the last, you know, 18 months or so were specifically for Zoom. So that might stick around, but what I think we'll still, like Chauncey and Sariana were saying, we'll always have those stage readings, which are great because, again, you can put them together kind of quickly, or you can do a full production. But one of the big problems I think producers face is finding a venue, because a lot of people don't realize that if you want to produce something, you might have to spend several $1,000s to get your location. With Zoom, you have other alternatives.
Thank you. Let me ask you this, Clint. This particular production, the Malone Family, what made you decide to, with everything you just told me, with the possibilities of doing it live and streaming it, or doing it Zoom, and then, you know, doing it as a podcast, what made you decide to do it as a podcast?
The original thing that I heard was that Christian, who I've always known does great work with the sound effects, and he's done the short radio plays with the collaborations between the Cary Playwrights Forum and the Greensboro Playwrights Forum, which we're both part of respectively. I heard he was accepting, you know, pitches for series, 5 to 10 episode series. And that really interested me because as a playwright, you come up with ideas, and some of your ideas are fine, they're stageable, and go with it. But other ideas you have for a play, you need fire-breathing dragons, because that's the type of stuff that I think of. And, or, you know, you might need an entire, it's a blessing of unicorns, that we make that point in episode 3, but you can't, right, Johnson remembers, you can't stage some of this stuff. So like I've said, I've always kind of thought this, the advantage of a audio series is the same as the disadvantage. You can't see it, so you can come up with whatever you want. So, it didn't really start off as a pandemic project, but it became one because when the time came to put it all together, the casting call went out in January of this year. The response was incredible. Got people from around the country, actually, mostly local still. But then we said, you know what? We're not going to take on the pandemic. We're just not going to add any stress to anybody's life. The whole thing, we're going to do this whole thing with just kindness and love. We're going to keep everybody safe. No reason to meet in person. And we rehearsed via Zoom and recorded independently, but the recording aspect allows us to get all the right sound effects and cut and edit and things like that.
Kristen, let me ask you, is this the start of something that is going to continue? Or when we get out of the pandemic, Chauncey's getting us out of the pandemic by the end of the year. So if he gets his wish, is this going to be a thing of the past, or is this going to be something you'd like to continue?
No, radio plays are going to continue through the Cary Playwrights Forum for the exact point that Clint mentioned, which is it allows the writers to think outside the stage. There's for a lot of like new works, 10-minute play festivals, we're working on a tight budget. We can't put a fire-breathing dragon. We could put some sort of semblance or have some kind of off-stage effect. But if you wanted to try to immerse the audience in a new world, the best way to do that is through a radio play, because then as long as you can get the sound effects in there, you can immerse the audience in this new location. You don't have to worry about the cast size. The cast size, you can have the 30 people played by only 30 characters played by 5 people. You could have different age actors, or you can have, there's lots of things you can do that you just can't do on the stage. That it gives the writer a lot of freedom. There's not a whole lot of boundaries that they have to worry about. So no, radio plays are going to continue. And in fact, one of the bright spots that came out of the pandemic was the Cary Playwrights Forum and Greensboro Playwrights Forum started an annual festival called the Radio Play Festival, the North Carolina Radio Play Festival. We started in 2020 with our Halloween themed shows. And then in 2021, we produced a series based on, the keyword was renewal and revive. So, and we're planning on doing a 2022 festival. I've been sending out emails with the normal crew to figure out, okay, what do we want to do next year coming up? So yeah, it's great. You can involve a lot of people because it's a lot of touch and go, especially with voice actors, because you don't have to commit to driving to a rehearsal. You don't have to be there for 4 hours. You can take an hour or so out of your day to record your lines for a 10-minute play, send them off, get feedback on it, and then maybe spend another hour to record later. So it's very flexible for the playwrights and for the editors, and it's a lot of freedom for the playwrights. So I only see benefits in terms of writing for radio, and I think we're going to continue.
Okay, thank you. Now let's get back to the Malone family. Sariana, tell me about Queen Tethra. Is that her name?
Yeah, yes.
Tell me about this queen.
In preparation for that question, I made some notes, and I have to say that she's unlike any character I've ever played before. I like to think I've channeled maybe Betty Davis and Joan Greenwood, and I know I'm probably dating myself when I mention Joan Greenwood, but she played, I think it was Cecily, in this great British film production of The Importance of Being Earnest. And she spoke kind of, she has this line, I asked you for bread and you have deliberately given me cake. And I've never forgotten it. And so I remembered her, and the actress just has this incredible voice to begin with. And so, it was a really fun part to create. And I think she has so many aspects to her character that made her so much fun to play. She's ancient, she's intelligent, she's gutsy, she's cunning and manipulative and funny and charming and vulnerable and all those things put together. In other words, you know, the type of character that Clint writes. She's human. She's multidimensional, and as I think all of his characters are, and he's able to just find the humor in, you know, these incredibly, well, I mean, just the example I would give is Chauncey's playing this widowed dad with these two little girls, and they're Puritans from the 1700s, right? And they've gone through a portal and they're in this enchanted forest. And one of the little girls says, "Dad, I need snacks." You know, it's just so, you know, accessible and common to everybody, the way that he writes. It's not The Crucible, let me put it that way. So, but yeah, Tathra's a really cool character. She's very driven, but she's also, I think, very lonely and vulnerable in her own way. And sort of a dinosaur. She's part of a disappearing species, for want of a better word. So yeah,
Okay.
she was a lot of fun.
I love the way you went into Joan and came out real quick. That was like everything for me. I was just like, yes,
Oh,
yes. So
such a great
thank you
movie.
for that.
You're welcome.
Chauncey, Father Malone, Paul Malone.
Yes.
Tell us about Father Malone.
I think Paul Malone is pretty much. I think he's the audience member that goes on this trip for the audience, right? So he's discovering everything that he comes across and he discovers is new to the audience and him and his kids as well. Paul is. I mean, well, not to give too much of the story away, he's in need of he finds something within the story that he doesn't know that he needed. In some parts of this story, it's a love story, it's a fantasy, is a little bit of sci-fi. I mean, I remember from the Greensboro Playwrights Forum reading this. I'm proud to say I'm the first person to ever read Paul Malone. I remember when Clint was bringing it to the forum, I was like, what is this? What is this? And it wasn't, and as you see it, I mean, we all have seen drafts of plays, and it wasn't written like that. And I first get it, and I was like, okay, was something wrong with the printer or something? Then I started reading it, and it's got all the sound effects out there. I'm like, oh. Then it dawns on me what this is. And I was hooked from the very start. But Paul is, I mean, he's the audience member that goes on this trip, and he's he's kind of your every Puritan man from the 1700s, if you can imagine that. But I didn't play him that way. I kind of played him like modern day, run of the mill, kind of, not milquetoast, but kind of, because there was all these wonderful characters surrounding the family. So that was the benefit. I didn't have to, I mean, I could speak in my normal voice, where a lot of people, had, or had accents, or didn't speak in accents. They spoke in cat. So I was fortunate enough that I had all that anchoring me and the kids around me. So it was a great joy.
Okay. And Chauncey, the proper term is cat sense. Like accents, but it's for cats.
Oh,
cat sense. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I just made that up, so we're gonna leave that alone. So Christian, tell your wife that she spoke in cat sense.
Cat sense. Yeah, we were wondering about that. Thank
yes, I know that was a big thing on your mind. I will say, I just want to say, and then I'm gonna give you guys final words. Believe it or not, it's 30 minutes. Theater people, I never worry about theater people. You guys love to talk. And when I say you guys, I'm talking about myself too. So I started, I went to the YouTube link, and I was about to play that, and I was like, okay, I'm being lazy. I was like, come on, I want to see something. I don't want to listen to anything. I don't listen and I don't read. Don't ask me how I'm an actor if I'm saying either one of those. I don't listen and I don't read. I don't want to. And so I put it on, and I was listening to it, and I was getting into it and stuff. And the next thing I know, that thing said 34 minutes and it was like, tune in. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, no, I'm into it now. I'm into it. I need to know what's going on. Because in my mind, for some reason, I thought it was going to be like 7 or 8 separate little things. And I was like, I got to wait till next week. So you brought that anticipation back to me. You know, we've become a generation where Netflix, you sit and watch the whole series in one night and you're good. But you like you had me sitting here in front of my computer like this and just waiting. And so I thank you for that. And everybody that is wondering whether you should listen to this, you definitely should listen. It is great. It leaves you wanting some more. And of course, meeting this cast, it just helps me out even more with the series. But let me ask you guys, you got any final words? Everybody? Yes, sir.
If I may, well, first, I kind of sympathize with the sentiment of not wanting to, wanting to watch something, so I would say to folks, to listeners out there, because we're not going to put their remaining, well, eventually they may be, but the next episode is going to come out on Saturday, and then following Saturdays through December until we hit episode 7. And those are going to come out at cpfradiohour.podbean.com. Just go to the Facebook page, the Malone Family and the Malone Family and the Enchanted Forest Facebook page, and you'll get all the information there. But I would say, put it on your phone and go for a hike, or put it in the car and just listen while you drive. To me, that's the way to listen to them, and not staring at the Playwright like we did in my family. That's a lot of pressure there, but to me, that's the best way to do it, or however you want to do it, however you want to do it. But that's how I like to listen to them, because Christian and I went back and forth with the episodes, and I really enjoyed listening to them while I was driving or walking around. It's a little tougher to sit at a computer on a chair and just start fidgeting. I want to check my email, something like that. But we will release episodes on Saturday and the following Saturday. This coming Saturday is episode 2. This is where the real flavor of the story begins. It's kind of like, a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court. Nobody picks that up and says, "Oh, I want to find out what happens in Connecticut." They want to hear about Camelot, right? So that's like episode 2 is we are in the Enchanted Forest, and we're going to pick up the flavor of the series really 100% in the coming episodes. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoy. Somebody else's turn. Thanks.
Okay. Sariana, you were doing a lot of writing there, so you might have thought I was going to ask a bunch of questions. Anything on that you were writing you want to talk about?
Well, I would add that I think the morning after the first episode, I emailed Clint and I said, "Isn't it mind-blowing that none of us were together at all when we made this?" And when I listened to the first episode, in my mind, I'm very visual. I'm seeing this family walking through the forest and talking to each other. And I immediately had that suspension of disbelief that they're really there and they're all together and that we were all together. And then I had to remind myself, no, we weren't. It's kind of an amazing collaboration and an amazing achievement that this is an epic 7-episode. How many in the cast, Clint?
21 if you count the regulars, but if you count everybody that recorded every line plus music and everything like that, it's in the upper 30s. And
the age range is what, like 11 or 12 all the way up, I'm guessing.
Oh, the youngest is 4. My niece plays a pixie for a couple of lines because she's good at it.
My gosh! Wow. So 4 to I don't know who the oldest one is, but 80. definitely AARP members for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, 80. See, so 4 to 80. I mean, So I would definitely just kudos to the entire cast. And it's kind of tooting my own horn, but I think we really achieved something magical and wonderful. And I do hope that people will enjoy it, enjoy listening to it as much as we all just had the joy of creating it.
Great. Okay. Yes. Chauncey, final words.
I just want to let people know that that there are many ways to support your local arts and artists, and this is one of those ways. You don't even have to leave your home or even then it's free from my understanding. And that it's something that you can sit around with your kids or with your loved ones, or like you said, if you're driving, it's 34 minutes or so. It's 30 minutes. You can go on a hike. I think that I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more. And yeah, it's amazing. So if you're looking for a new form of entertainment, radio plays are it. They're back.
Yay!
Yes, and Christian, last words.
Yeah, so Clint mentioned the Facebook page, the Malone Family in the Enchanted Forest. You can find that. You can also go to the CaryPlaywrightsForum.org. You can find the page for the Malone Family in the Enchanted Forest, and there's quick links to all the episodes once they get released. And you'll also find our other radio series, like a 4-part audio play written by Ken Walsh that was released over the summer, as well as an 8-part series called The Spire, written by Larry Bliss from last year. And then also all of our radio play festivals are still up and running, including ones that Chauncey and Clint were, and Sariana too. All these people were involved with it. So nice they came back to help out with this series.
Okay, and I will get that information from you guys after we're done, and everyone at home, you will see it underneath us on this Zoom. We'll post the websites so you know where to go to get them. Well, guys, thank you so much for this, and I am looking forward to definitely hearing more about it. So now everybody here is in North Carolina except for Chauncey. Chauncey, I'm being nosy now. You live in North Carolina? Are you just visiting?
I live in Atlanta now. I mean, I'm from Greensboro.
Okay,
I was born and raised in Greensboro. Yeah.
Okay, but you live in Atlanta now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I just didn't know him, but I knew you told me, Clint, that not everybody was in North Carolina, but okay. All right, well, guys, again, thank you so much for this, and we look forward to hearing the other 6 episodes of this and hearing and seeing. Oh, what I didn't ask, I've gone over my 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. Sariana, what's next for you?
Well, I am on book 2 of the second series that I'm doing. It's a series called The Ex Who Wouldn't Die. And it's a cozy mystery series about a woman who is an amateur sleuth, and her husband is deceased, but his ghost continues to torment and haunt her, and together they solve mysteries. So I'm recording that, and yeah, that's and go and auditioning for other things, slowly as things open up again. I'm actually relocating to New York State in about a month, so I will be 90 minutes from Manhattan, and I'm looking forward to perhaps getting back into that scene again. We'll see, the audition scene there.
Okay, I will tell you, I'm glad you gave me a little explanation, because I was like, the ex that wouldn't die. I'm like, well, did you try to kill him, or did you? Okay, and we're gonna leave that alone. Maybe it's time for me to read that one. Okay, yeah, the ex that went, but then you
can
tell
listen
me
to it.
Okay, oh, I can listen to it.
Yeah, you can listen to it when it comes out. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because then what you actually told me was, okay, y'all solving murder mysteries together. Ooh, okay, Chauncey, what's next for you? Oh, wait, go ahead, Sariana.
I was going to say, actually, it's the Ex Who Wouldn't Die is the series. I think book 2, if I remember the title correctly, is The Ex Who Glowed in the Dark, I think. So each one will be, about the ex, same couple. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Not dying and glowing in the dark. Yes, that's a normal everyday experience.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay, Chauncey, what's next for you?
I'm always auditioning for film and TV stuff, and I've had some breaks, and right now I'm just waiting to hear about some possible opportunities that may come through. But that is it for me. I want to get back on stage. It's just that it takes so much time. away from other things. But I'm probably gonna end up doing that soon.
Thank you. Clint, what's next for you?
I've actually got a book coming out in December called Ancient Canada, A Mythological Tale with Camcat Books. So I'll be promoting that. That's coming out December 14th. But I tell you what, with the Malone family, we had a lot of fun, but I called in a lot of favors from my buddy that does promo art and music. And I mean, I had a lot of help. Everybody said yes. That's what I love about the theater group. So to answer your question, what's next for me? The Witness Relocation Program. Or I'm going to have to return a lot of favors, which I'll try to be good for that too.
I guess you'll be the ex that disappeared. Yes, that's it. Christian, what's next for you? What's going on?
So the Cary Playwrights Forum is ramping up. I'm producing our first stage show in a long time. It's a full-length play, new to the world, a new feel-good comedy by Amy DeLuze called Coming Back for Me. And it's about a woman who finds her artistic muse later in life. She's normally into like little arts and crafts stuff, like working with decoupage jars and stuff like that. And then suddenly inspiration hits her and she starts making these crazy, weird and strange, but, magnificent looking, very inspired pieces. But she's has to keep them hidden away from her blue collar husband and her son, who's, old enough to, start questioning his mom's sanity. So, but yeah, it's a great script. We've been workshopping it through the pandemic and we've been itching to get it on stage. So January of 2022 at the Cary Arts Center, we'll be back on stage.
Cool. I know Amy. That's cool.
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking out some time to sit and talk with us and for teaching some people, because there are going to be people watching that have no idea about how radio plays are done. And they do now. They know some things. And I really thank you for sitting here. So. All righty. Well, we will see everyone on the next previews, but definitely go look at the Malone Family and the Enchanted Forest. Did I get that right? Malone Family and the Enchanted Forest is not a rock group. It is a radio show. Okay, and like Prince and the Revolution or Hootie and the Blowfish or okay. Yes. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Say
you.
bye. Wave bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.